What's going on, guys? My name is Trevor. Welcome back to the channel. 1 year ago today, July 1st of 2022, Stranger Things Season 4 finale came out, arguably giving us some of the greatest episodes of TV of all time. So today, in honor of it being its 1 year anniversary, I thought it was a perfect time to share with you a video I've been wanting to do for a long time, and that is everything I love about Stranger Things, hence the name of this title, Why I Love Stranger Things. But instead of going into like a video essay breakdown about why I love the show, we're actually going to be doing a ranking of the seasons, a ranking of my favorite characters, all that and so much more, as long as my predictions for Season 5, just some things I want to see coming in Season 5. It's going to be fun. Let me know everything you love about Stranger Things down below in the comment section. What are you hoping for in Season 5? Let's talk about it down below. Leave a like, and let's start off with my top 3 favorite characters of Stranger Things. First and foremost, I really don't believe there's a right and wrong answer, but starting off at number 3, I'm going to go with Eddie Munson. I love this guy, and the more I think about him, I can't believe how much of an impact he's had on me. And when I go back and rewatch Stranger Things Season 4, he easily is one of the biggest standouts because he's a character in the beginning. You just don't really know too much about him, like what's this guy going to be? But as the season progresses and goes on, you just fall in love with this character, and you gotta thank Joseph Quinn for that. I always had Steve at number 3, but Eddie Munson took his place, which is kind of insane, but I absolutely love this guy, and I'm holding out hope he will be in Stranger Things Season 5.
No one change, no one change!
Never change. Dustin Henderson. Promise me?
At number 2 is Dustin Henderson. He was always my number 1. He went back and forth with who is my number 1 now. But Dustin Henderson is one of the kids who was really on the back burner of the group in Season 1. Season 2 definitely got more limelight. Season 3 really got more limelight, getting his love story with Susie. All that was great. But Season 4, Dustin is like the man. He's calling the shots. He's running the group. Mike's out in California with Elle, and Dustin is back in Hawkins. Literally he's snapping necks and cashing checks. He's the leader of this group, and I think they really did that because Gad Matarazzo he's such a fantastic and likable actor, and this character he progressed so well. He went from the bottom of the totem pole in the group to being the overall leader, and that's what I love so much about this kid. He's absolutely hilarious. Literally makes me laugh more than any other character inside this show. But at number 1 is none other than Jim Hopper.
Flo, we've discussed this. Mornings are for coffee and contemplation.
Chief, she's
Coffee and contemplation.
Hopper has some of the most emotional moments throughout any of Stranger Things. He's been through some of the most hard times of any character in Stranger Things. And overall, he's just the father of the group, man. Every time he's on screen, he's always looking out for Eleven, always looking out for these kids. And from being him, the small town cop in Season 1 to basically saving the world, not once, not twice, but 3 different freaking times throughout the entirety of Stranger Things, Hopper is always going to come out on top. And his letter to Elle at the end of Stranger Things Season 3, and when he comes back and reunites with Eleven at the end of Stranger Things Season 4, I mean, that is just chef's kiss. Hey, kid. I mean, just hits you right in the feels, man. And the end of Season 3, when he writes the letter to Elle and he's reading over to her, that's some of the best filmmaking you could ever see and want. And overall, it just makes me love this guy that much more because he's the father of the group, and I have lots of hopes for him in Season 5. So that is our first section of the video. We have my top 3 favorite characters of Stranger Things. Let me know your favorite characters of Stranger Things down below in the comment section. Now we're going to move on to the ranking of all 4 Stranger Things seasons. And this is really tough because I think every Stranger Things season is really good. They all have good vibes and good things about them that I just know and love so much. But at number 4 is Season 2 of Stranger Things. I love getting introduced to Mad Max. I love the Halloween vibes in this season. It's just a little bit slower paced, and it has my least favorite episode in the entirety of Stranger Things in episode 7, titled The Lost Sister. That episode is the lowest rated on all the episodes of Stranger Things, and overall it's just definitely the black sheep of Stranger Things episodes. But this season really piggybacks off the first season well. Will is going through so many trials and tribulations. He's not doing good. Mike is trying to be a good friend, but Mike is still a dick. I'm not a big Mike fan. And Hopper is basically being a dad to Elle, kind of adopting her, being that father figure to her, trying to keep her safe and out of trouble. So everyone's going on these own different little paths here and getting introduced to the character Mad Max, who wants to join the group so much, but Mike is so hesitant to adding another girl to the group. He's just not about it at all. There's so many good things that I love about this season, and overall at the end of Season 2 with Elle and the whole greaser look, I mean, that is just freaking badass. And the death of Bob Newby, I mean, it hits hard. I love a lot about this season, but it comes in last, and it's just how good this show is. At number 3 is Season 1 of Stranger Things. The Vanishing of Will Byers is an absolutely incredible episode because it happens right off the bat. The show wastes absolutely no time, and I love the vibes, and the score of the show just reminds you of your childhood so much. It has those coming of age vibes, but it is so dark. When Barb gets like sunk into a pool and Nancy's hearing Barb scream her name over and over, and Steve being a total dick, Nancy and Jonathan coming together, and I mean, these characters are so different, but no one knows exactly what's going on in Hawkins. Jim Hopper just He just wants to get with Joyce, and he's just a small-town cop. Mornings are for coffee and contemplation. A season that introduced so many characters, but introduced them so well and had such a crazy premise, but nailed it on every single level. And overall, these characters coming from different worlds all have their own like demons and things that are haunted from the past, but all come together with Steve being the babysitter with a bat at the end of this season. I mean, it's freaking badass. It's dope. And Mike is my least favorite in this group, but he does a really good job of being the heart, as Will calls him in season 4. He's carrying this all together. He brings Elle. He provides a house for Elle. Elle doesn't even speak, so it's just a lot of fun this whole season getting introduced to these kids who want to play Dungeons & Dragons. And episode 3 is unbelievable. I play that rendition of Heroes, which you play throughout several times throughout this entire series. But when they play it for the first time, and Eleven and Michael, and you think Will's dead and they find the body, I mean, just thinking about that scene alone just hits right in the feels, and it's absolutely emotional. I love season 1. It's insane how good this show is. At number 2 is Stranger Things Season 3. This season has so much to offer from emotional levels, but overall, I really love the summer vibes of this season. It feels like summer with your friends, going to the mall, causing havoc. It hits on all those coming-of-age vibes that you know and love, but this season is absolutely epic, and again, it is dark and has those horror elements that we know and love of Stranger Things as well. You got Billy being basically a big bad in this episode and not knowing who's taking over him, how he's getting possessed, but overall find out in Season 4 that it's Vecna doing all of that. And I mean, the Battle of Starcourt is one of the most epic battles and epic scenes you will see in a movie. And Jim Hopper and Joyce trying to fight with the Russians and like save the world that way, but the kids fighting and Elle ultimately using all of her powers in the Battle of Starcourt. I mean, this is everything and more you wanted in a finale episode. And Jim Hopper's letter to Eleven, I mean, it hits all the right notes for me. Hits you right in the feels, makes you want to cry, and plays that hero song all over again. And it seems like our characters are all going to dissipate and all going to go away, but you get the post-credit scene finding out that Hopper is in a Russian jail, setting up for Season 4. Season 3 has a lot to offer, and one of my favorite lines of Stranger Things, I dump your ass. But in first place is Stranger Things Season 4. I've talked about the coming-of-age vibes. I talked about all this enough, but I'm going to talk about a couple added characters in this series and that are absolutely fantastic. One of them being Chrissy. She only got 1 episode, and man, did I wish she got more, because I absolutely love this character, and she's just so likable and lovable. One of my favorite characters only have 1 season and 1 episode. Standout in this season is the man, the myth, the legend, Eddie Munson. I mean, this guy is absolutely hilarious. A lot of the season basically follows him. He's arguably the main character of the season, as literally the first episode, Chrissy gets like possessed and like just torn apart right in front of him. Horrific. And this is definitely the scariest and darkest season of them all. But it's following Eddie Munson because there's a goose hunt after Eddie Munson. What's going to happen with this character? Who even is this guy? So he's one of the main focal points, and Joseph Quinn turned in a fantastic performance. But the ultimate episode of this is the finale, the 2-hour-long like movie when you're playing so many different awesome songs. Eddie rocking out to Master of Puppets inside the Upside Down. Him and Dustin's bromance absolutely carries. Robin and Nancy going on a little duet together, kind of making that badass tag team duo, and overall Steve being the ultimate babysitter that he always is. Season 4 of Stranger Things is not only my favorite season of Stranger Things, it's my favorite season of TV ever. Moving on now, I'm going to share with you guys my top 3 favorite episodes of Stranger Things. There's absolutely so many episodes to love here, and I've talked about quite a bit of them already in the previous 2 rankings of this video so far. But at number 3 is going to be from Season 1, Episode 3, titled Holly Jolly. This is where we think we find Will's body, and they have like that whole fake body, which is just so dark and terrifying. And when you think you find Will's body, all the kids show up, and Eleven's trying to tell Mike that that's not the body, and you hear Hopper say like, God, please tell me it's not the kid. I mean, just something about this episode, how dark it was when it played that song Heroes in the background. I mean, it just hits so hard in the feels, and it's one of those episodes that like after I watched it, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And whenever I think of Stranger Things, I think of the song Heroes, and I think back to this episode. It's dark, it's brutal, it's so emotional. All the kids like just kind of going away from each other. I mean, it hits so hard. I mean, it's one of the most emotional moments in TV history, and thank God it wasn't true, but Holly Jolly is one of those episodes that will just hit you right in the gut. At number 2 is the finale of Stranger Things Season 3, Episode 9, titled The Battle of Starcourt. Obviously, you have the epic battle with the Mind Flare, all the kids throwing fireworks at it. Just so creative and so epic and awesome. You see Billy kind of turn against Vecna, then he ultimately gets killed by the Mind Flare, and we don't even know who Vecna is at this point. Eleven uses all of her powers. Hopper dies. I mean, this episode is filled with so many emotional moments and beats that you just can't pick one that you love more than the other. But my favorite part about this episode is hands down Hopper's letter to Elle when she reads it and you hear his voice in the background. It's make mistakes, learn from them, and when life hurts you, because it will, remember the hurt. The hurt is good. It means you're out of that cave. I listened to this monologue more times than I can count on my fingers. It's everything and more you can want. And please, for the sake of your poor old dad, keep the door open. 3 inches. I mean, I can just cry thinking about it, I'm not gonna lie to you. But at number 1 is, of course, the Stranger Things Season 4 finale titled The Piggyback. This hits on so many different emotions that it's absolutely insane. Eddie Munson's death, when he dies in Dustin's arm, he's like, I love you, man. Or the moment when he's like, never change, Dustin Henderson. Promise me. I'm literally giving myself goosebumps about it. I just can't believe how much I freaking love the character of Eddie Munson. But also, that, like, Vecna's coming after Max, and, like, Lucas and Max, they finally are back together, like we know and love. They are here, and Lucas tells her throughout the entirety of Season 4 of Stranger Things that I'm here, like, I'm right here, just talk to me. He's trying to kind of rekindle that relationship with her. Lucas started off rocky in the beginning of Season 4, but man, did his character come around by the end of it. And Max starts breaking her bones, Vecna's breaking her bones in Season 4. You have Nancy with the shotgun with Robin and Steve. I mean, it's so badass and emotional. And then Eleven's piggybacking in the Upside Down, and she's sitting there crying with them. And again, I wish you could see my goosebumps I have. And Lucas is sitting there, he yells at his sister, Erica, help. And Max is like, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. And I mean, Caleb McLaughlin literally turns in easily the best performance in the entirety of Stranger Things Season 4. This hits and just all those emotional moments. He's screaming, he's crying, the love of his life is dying in his arms, and Max is in a coma by the end of this episode. And Hopper returns at the end of the episode when he meets up with Eleven, and they have a moment when they're talking about how their hair was both short, how she kept the door open 3 inches, and he's such a father. That moment will just make your heart just so warm and fuzzy. And it ends off with basically kind of like the world looking like it's just going to implode on itself. I mean, this episode had all the emotional moments, all the epic moments, all the awesome lines, all the characters coming together, everyone gets a time to shine, and Nancy's ultimately badass with a shotgun and make you cry, make you laugh, make you scream to the top of your lungs. I remember watching this 1 year ago today, just head over heels in love with this episode. But the Season 4 finale titled The Piggyback is easily my favorite episode of Stranger Things so far. And to wrap up why I love Stranger Things so much, we're going to go into some of my Stranger Things Season 5 predictions. We have a couple updates in this so far. We have a new character, Linda Hamilton, coming back, Sarah Connor from the Terminator franchise, but we have a couple predictions I'm just going to throw out there. Number 1, first and foremost, I believe there will be some form of time travel in this season. I think that they have always kind of hinted at that, and I think they're going to have to, and it might even like go all the way back to like Season 1. And I'm thinking if the Duffer Brothers are thinking with the end in mind, it would be kind of crazy if that, like, to save the world, someone had to sacrifice himself, maybe it was Eleven, to go back in time, and it ended up back where it all started with the kids all playing Dungeons and Dragons, and then it got to show them all grow up, a little montage, you get to see Eddie Munson alive, and everyone's so happy and loved, and all these kids just remember what their friend Eleven did for them. I think something like that could happen. I don't know. That is one like off the brain, and that sounds like it'd be pretty cool. Episode 1's titled The Crawl. I believe this is going to be Eddie Munson crawling out of the Upside Down. I mean, you can kill characters off in almost any show and they'll come back. Jon Snow, he comes back in Game of Thrones. Jim Hopper comes back in Stranger Things. I don't see why Eddie Munson couldn't come back. And Dustin had a moment with Eddie Munson's uncle at the end of Season 4 where he's like crying. He's like, he was a hero. And everyone started going into these theories and rumors that Dustin was crying because no one would get to see how great Eddie was. I think Eddie's alive. I think he was too lovable not to be. And he's still doing all these fan meetups. So I was like talking about like Stranger Things. So I'm just hoping that Eddie Munson's gonna freaking return. I want these writers to get paid so the strike can end and Stranger Things Season 5 can begin production because I just can't wait any longer. That's gonna do it for all my reasons why I love Stranger Things. Again, just a bunch of little rankings inside one big long video. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me, being here. Leave a like, hit a subscribe button, notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I mean, hit the subscribe button, join the Hellfire Club. It'd be awesome.